Good morning. Oh my gosh, I'm a little slow on my get-go here this morning getting organized. So thank you for your patience. But I am here. I am here. I am here. Good morning. I'm so glad you guys are too. Definitely moving through some. The release of February and into March, I think, is playing a little bit of havoc with my system. But I'm here this morning, and like I said, I'm so glad that you are as well. March is brings a real great relief for us. February was really, really intense. Since we have some reprieve here at the beginning of March in terms of what allows us just to find some flow with life again. And I'm telling you, I just wanted to flow and stay on my pillow this morning. That's where I was at. I had a really big, busy week. And so this morning was just, I'm really feeling not, I don't want to say it's a letdown in energy, but I think it is. You can just feel the relief of the energy. It's a different sensation and a different feeling, which is just really allowing for a greater sense of our own. I would say compassion and selffulness and again, not in selfishness, but in the fullness of ourselves. There is an increase of what is connectivity for us in March as well. We're looking at what is the Piscean energy right now. So Pisces being, of course, the most, I would say, psychic really of all of the astrological signs. And so it's going to really, really increase our connectivity. And so, when we have increased connectivity, we have increased inspiration, which creates increased creativity as well. So it's a real, real strong energy. Of course, we've got, as we come into March, we're really in this current of softness, of gentleness, of easing into the month. So maybe just like me, you just felt like, oh, I just, want to stay snuggled in this morning. Maybe not feeling motivated, but just really it's a different rhythm. February was intense. It really was calling us to action, and there was a lot that was purging, a lot of healing, a lot of action. And so it's like, whew, we made it. We made it. So here again, fresh new energies as we start the new month. The planet is, say even just the energy grids within the planet are really vibrating with higher resonance of energy. So just like we've been going through massive shifts in healing, of course, our planet has as well. And so there is this buzz of energy that's actually going to raise our vibration this month. So here again, what's so great is like we've been really kind of in a heavy kind of purging process since we started into this new year. And so now we're like, whew, we can breathe a little easier now coming into March, and our vibrations are actually raising, which is increasing that connectivity that I was just talking about as well. So this is going to be a real more up close and personal relationship with the non-physical world as we start into March here. A lot of our energy centers, the filter has been cleaned. We are more balanced. That was a big piece of what these energies over the last couple of weeks of February were all about, helping us to really find some balance. And so we're coming in at a really good place as we start the month here. Of course, we've got the equinox coming up this month, which again we're going to have a massive, a big changeover within what is the seasonal scope of things, which is really going to shift things into a movement forward as well. But movement forward because we have eclipse season starting at the end of the month. So things might get a little topsy-turvy as we get into the end of the month. So we're going to really enjoy this reprieve that we have right now, because it really is, we're being so cradled and so held as we start this new year. We have a lot of some of the challenges, so to speak, within the energies as we move throughout the month is really going to be within the scope of our relationships. Now again, this might be our physical relationships. We might have challenges or things arise within some of those. I'm gonna say maybe we might be confused in terms of matters of the heart, so to speak. But there is an energy that is really inviting us to kind of, as we've been purging and cleaning up, and there's been the karmic field has been cleaned. We're establishing new relationships in our life, and even though they're like the same relationship, it's like the new. It's like a new version of relationship that is looking to take form. So because of that, we're gonna, that might really we might even, as we come into this week already, be kind of taking a look at what that means for us, and really figuring out, not only, we've been figuring out who we are in terms of our life, and now we're figuring out how do our relationships fit, what needs to change, and what needs to be altered and shifted within our relationship. And sometimes that just means we need to have some conversations that maybe we've been putting off. Now, Mercury, of course, also goes into retrograde this month, which of course is going to be a big factor in all of this too, really helping us to reflect on what's going on in our lives. Where do we need to look at, bringing some healing within our relationships, especially in terms of our communication. So that's going to be a big factor. So we look at that in terms of what that means for us in our physical expression of life and our day-to-day aspects of life. But it also is very relative in terms of our connection with the other side, and what it means in terms of our communication with the other side, in developing an even healthier relationship with the non-physical world. What do we need to clean up? What do we need to ask for differently? Are there boundaries that need to be reset? Do we need to reflect in terms of what our willingness has been in terms of being of service? Are we utilizing our connection to the other side? Could we be increasing our sense of not only connection, but our sense and trust in terms of the guidance? Is there something that we can clean up in terms of our fears, our beliefs, that is creating blocks or limitations that might be preventing us from having a more up close, intimate relationship with our loved ones, with our spirit guides, with our angels? So we really have to take a look at this as well, because it is very as I've always shared, what we're looking to do within the physical expression of our lives has a direct bearing on the non-physical expression as well. And so we need to look at cleaning up our communication with the other side as well. And how can we show up in a more healthier way? Not, I mean, which is what the energies of February were doing, of helping us to shift within the field around us, within the energy scope, within the light body. And now we have to look at our ego. We have to take a look at what are our self-imposed barriers or blocks. Where have I maybe been limiting myself in terms of my connection, or in terms of my purpose, even through mediumship in this way? I've had some, I mean, obviously I have great client sessions like every single week. I'm always blown away and in awe of not only people's willingness in terms of their deeper healing that they're doing, but also in terms of the guidance and the things that come forward and through, that are relative to, helping them within their life, which of course begins me to begin to look at aspects of my own self and going, whoa, what needs to be cleaned up and healed here? And this is a really big factor. It's like looking at, I had this client session the other day that, the scope of asking, we are so willing to serve, and we go out of our way to help other people, and we look at all of the ways that we want to make a difference in other people's lives, and we're doing readings for other people, and we're doing all of this for others, and we've lost maybe at times an understanding or connection to our own guides, our own angels, and asking for what we need, and to remember that, what do you want from life? And asking yourself, what do I want this life, to become? What do I want to be, do, and have? But again, asking in terms of the universe, but then of course asking your angels, giving them something, to work with. So we need to also take a look at what this means for us in terms of our relationships coming into this month. And as I said, we've got this beautiful Piscean energy right now that is creating more flow, but within our lives, but more flow between the physical and non-physical world. So this is, so we looking at asking for what it is that we require. What do we need assistance with? What is it that we would like to maybe do, with our life, that we've maybe never considered before as even a possibility? We need to start putting out the requests and start asking for, some, specific direction. Otherwise, we're just going to be plopped into circumstance, and we're going to be just kind of having to, whatever cards are kind of being dealt, we're going to have to just kind of play that deck. But we actually get to have a choice. We get to pick up the deck, we get to shuffle, we get to decide when we lay the cards out. Like this is a part of just recognizing that we can, have a much more, connected relationship, but a much more, co-creative relationship as well. And again, this is really allowing, as I said, there's some real big creativity, energies at play here this month for us as well. So the moment, as we open up and we allow for that and we increase the not our connection, but we increase our relationship, that we're actually, probably going to be able to dream up some new projects, some dream up some new ways of doing things. We're going to have some new or exciting things that we can put into play for ourselves. So it's really important that we take a look at using the energy right now to really deepen not only our spiritual practices, but deepen our relationship with the non-physical world as well. So the energies are really, really helping us in terms of doing that, especially as we start into the beginning of this week. As we move later on into next week, once we've, we're going to feel a little bit more clear, a little bit more directed. We're going to have a, maybe the pulse basically better in terms of how we're looking to express ourselves. What is, but we need to start making some concrete decisions in terms of what are we doing with our businesses? What are we doing in terms of in terms of service for others? What are we doing in terms of our creative endeavors, the things that we want to achieve and accomplish in this life that are going to make a positive difference in the lives of others? So we really need to take a look at that here as we come into the openings of this fresh, beautiful, and new energy. So there's a lot of this new energy. There's a beautiful flow here. As I said, the invitations are to really deepen our spiritual practices and work with those etheric realms. That is really what this energy is supporting us to do. And so it's going to allow for us to be able to manifest greater things within our life, but it's all, bringing in some of the, we set intentions, so to speak, and it's really going to allow for things to really come into play, and especially as we move into the new moon, as we move in, which is, I believe, on the 10th, which is really going to really help us to move through and to do our creative work and to begin to manifest within scopes of really actualizing some really beautiful things. But we need to go beyond. Again, there's the willingness to do it, and then setting some goals, setting some commitments, making the decision to do this work, and then allowing for, it's such a positive time for us to step forward, such a positive time to take action. Now, there are some complexities within the energies right now, too. This is something else I'd like to bring up. Now, there have been, this is like what's happening within the greater scope, within the cosmic shifts that are taking place. But there's also some complexity within the energy that almost seems to be putting pressure around our systems, or pressure around even globally, so to speak. And so it's feeling like we're not making progress. It's feeling like maybe we're at a deadlock. Nothing's happening. Maybe things are slow, even if you have a business. Things are slow in people registering. It may feel like nobody, it's like crickets out there. No matter what you're putting out on social media, or what you're sharing, or what you're trying to bring forward, it may feel like nothing is landing, and there's nobody out there, so to speak, who is seeking. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So this is the invitations here for us are really, continuing to look at doing this, showing up, working our energy, putting things out, speaking to it. It's like putting the intentions, doing the action, because all of it, even though the complexities, it's feeling like we're not getting anywhere, and that's actually not true. It's just there's so much being there's so much static in the field, or they're going to say there's so much being unearthed or opened up for us, that we won't, it's what's actually helping for things to materialize. So the materialization of things, we're kind of looking at maybe into the mid-year, into the latter part of this year. So I think here again, it's always that message of not giving up, holding faith, following through, taking the action, and know that things are going to come into form, even though we might not be seeing the results right now. Within the complexities of energies, there's probably about I was sharing with a colleague the other day, and her and I were talking, and she had referenced the fact that there's probably like 3 more energy issues, so to speak, that we need to contend or deal with as we move through this first part of this year. And those are the things. And once those 3 things are done, it's like everything eases up after that. So, here again, we need to feel our way through the energy. We need to be diligent in our spiritual practices. We need to stay committed. We need to continue to do our deeper healing doing work, because that's everything that's going to allow for things to materialize as we move forward and through, into the, as we move into I would say even into May. Like, I don't want to say summer, but like it's like it just needs to move forward. So this energy this year, I mean, or especially this month, it's really demanding. It's really demanding of us. It's demanding of our consistency, of our practices, of our faith, of our trust, of our dedications, of our commitments, all of it, right? And it's really, almost, and I say demanding because, we're having to look at releasing and dissolving things that no longer fit. We're looking into new realities and new streams of energy, new heightened aspects of consciousness, and all of that is very rapid in what's taking place and forming. So it's creating this complexity of energy that, but it's again where we're looking at, we need to of course become even more responsible with in our lives, in our relationships, as I said earlier, how we're showing up in our relationships, this new sense, feeling, or opportunity that we're being presented within our very close relationships, and also in terms of this more responsibility and nurturing our deepened connection with our relationships with the non-physical world here as well. So we're really you know it's this it's these energies, and it's like we're being invited. It's like I feel it, like this pulsation or this vibration, this heartbeat that is calling us forward, and it's like it's demanding of us. But we're also in that demanding of it, that pressure to show up in this way, that all of it, all of the choices we're going to make, like everything this year, is really is going, it's like there will be fruits to the labor, so to speak. And a lot of that is going to happen. Again, my goodness, we come into eclipse season we have the first eclipse here at the end of this month. So we need to really get concentrated, which is the invitation we have even this week coming in, where we're able to really move through the things that are holding us back. We may have, you know, it's like our effort is required in March more than ever. We've done a lot in terms of overcoming fear, of feeling, of boosting confidence, of becoming, more aligned, and a greater scope of what is our own worthiness, and we've been moved into some higher vibrational frequencies. But in it, it's also again within the new energy here, we're really everything is becoming accelerated excuse me, with the eclipse at the end of this month. So we need to really be bold this month. We really need to be bold this week. We need to be sincere in our efforts. We need to look at, we've been looking, okay, we need to look at our bodies and our health and take responsibility there. And now we're looking at, okay, the relationships between the physical and in our physical and non-physical world. And everything is about our the movement forward for us, so that we can really create, I mean, the momentum. This is all that pulsation I talked about is the increase of momentum for all things becoming possible. So we need to again, there is, as I said, there's some relief within the energy here. There's almost like a weight has been lifted in terms of maybe what we've experienced, not just in January and February, but I want to say maybe even going back into, October, November of last year, of what maybe we've been carrying or working through. There is a real sense of almost like the purge of that. And now it's like, okay, now we need to be dutiful. We need to take responsibility. We need to take a look at things. We need to set some really clear intentions, and start asking for what it is that we want for our lives. Start asking very intentionally, very affirmatively, very, and then once we're asking in it, and we're offering it to the universe, we're offering it to our angels and guides, and then we come and we take our responsibility, which means we're taking action. We're making the phone calls, we're sending the emails, we are doing the promotion, we are taking the risk. And that's so difficult for us as humans sometimes, because we want to, we have this desire to know what's going to happen. What is this going to mean for us? What is this going to result in? Where is this taking me? And we need to get out of all of those the egoic control of things, and just go, okay, the energy is amplified. I am doing my work. I am throwing this out there, and I am trusting that however this needs to play out, it's going to play out. I'm dropping into my heart, and I'm going to, take some action. Now, this is really, again, where we need to hold ourselves accountable. We need to look at, we can sit back and stay within maybe our choices in terms of victimhood, or our choices in our suffering, or our choices of lack. We can stay there, or we can begin to shift and believe, create that sense of belief in ourselves, begin to tap into the light that exists inside of us, and begin to use that light, to work that light, to overcome things, and take the chance on ourselves, and to move forward, within our creative endeavors, and just to, throw it out there, give it a try. If it lands, great. If it doesn't, oh well, I'm going to keep going, because there's something bigger at play, right? So we're really looking, the invitations here again, to really be very authentic in our choices. What is it we truly desire? What is it that we're looking to create for our lives? But also looking at, what is our what is true for me? What is right for me? And then take action in accordance to that. And so again, that might mean we need to have some difficult conversations. We need to, maybe things that we've been putting up with, or we've been steering away from, even in terms of our whether with our children, or whether with our partners and spouses, whether with colleagues, or even a boss at work, like whatever there is. This is a time where we need to really give ourselves permission to begin to, it's like the universe is encouraging us to have those conversations, begin to allow those, because that's where the potentials really come into play. So this is about knowing ourselves. This is a deepening. It's like anything that we are really needing to transform in whatever aspect of life that is. There's going to be some tension in that, and we're going to have to apply ourselves. We're going to have to look at those difficult situations that have been coming up. This is now new energy. There's more, of course, planetary alignments here. It's creating an opening for us to be liberated from a lot of that suffering. And so even though life can feel like it's really overwhelming, it's also, the invitations are helping us to remember how capable we are, how much we've got, not only the physical force, because we worked with the physical body over this last couple of weeks, but in terms of our aspects to be able of ourselves, what is resilient inside of us. And what I love about this, as I said, this is really helping us in increasing that connection to the spiritual realm. It's so high. Excuse me. We are so connected. And I need some water. And in fact, it's quite exceptional within the frequencies right now. So anything we can do to increase that connection, which I would say, it's not increase the connection, they're saying increase the relationship, bring your guides close, bring everything, allow, maybe you need to look at your boundaries, you need to clean up some of your boundaries, maybe you need to shift and reestablish some different boundaries with the spirit world. Everything is going to help you to, of course, be more empowered, but also to look at what we can do to bring our guides closer, our angels closer, and of course, and not ignore the guidance. Follow the guidance. Over logic. Logic can explain everything. Of course it can, but follow the guidance, and of course do so in terms of following what is right, best, and true for our hearts. Okay, so my goodness, my goodness, my goodness, it's beautiful. I always say I love how the energies are so supportive for us in terms of not only our personal journeys, but of course of our relationship with the other sides. Have a beautiful day. Oh my gosh, God bless everybody. And until we meet again. All right, bye bye for now.